At a CPAC Texas 2022 panel, Florida Republican Byron Donalds threw shade at Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg after a question about the baby formula crisis. Joking that Buttigieg had baby formula during his paternity leave, the Republican congressman elicited laughter from the crowd. Buttigieg was widely panned by conservatives for his 2-month leave of absence after he and his husband Chasten had twins, which overlapped with the supply chain crisis. Democrats have accused conservatives of unfairly blaming Buttigieg for inaction during the supply chain crisis, pointing to the fact that he had multiple deputies filling in for him and alleging that conservative criticism was homophobic.
Byron, we've seen the supply chain crisis, which apparently was supposed to be solved months ago, and then we run into baby formula shortages.
Yes.
With the missteps that the Biden administration knew about it ahead of time and did nothing or not even warn parents about it. I mean, parents are concerned. What is going to be the solution? How do we handle this?
Well, look, I know Pete Buttigieg, when he went on paternity leave, he had some baby formula. I know he might have had his supply. But look, this is a real tragedy. And the reality is that there are serious reforms that have to be done at the FDA. And this administration is not going to do it. When you have a situation where parents can't get baby formula, like I used to buy the baby formula in my house, love you, honey, but I did. I went out and bought it. I know what it is. I have to go find the formula. And you have to keep the same formula. You can't switch because the baby will reject it.
Right.
So when you do this across the country and you don't have a plan in place, you have a situation where children might have lower birth growth rates, lower brain development over the long term. This is a serious tragedy for infants. What you have to do is some serious reforms at the FDA. They cannot shut down plants without a pathway in order to make sure the supply that is needed continues. If we had an administration that thought about supply chains instead of all this woke foolishness, we would have had a plan. As much as they like to say, and Joe Biden said this about 3 years ago, oh, there was no plan, there was no plan. This guy is the guy with no plans. We're moving from crisis to crisis to crisis. It's going to take Republican leadership to make sure we have those. Quick point on ESG. ESG is fascism. That is what this stuff is. It is fascism. When you have knuckleheads in the bureaucracy who've never run a business, who've never really had a real job, and now they get to set the standards for what societal goals are, what energy goals are, they are no better than a Politburo who's going to try to design an economy, and these guys are dummies and don't know even how to work in an economy, let alone how to design an economy. It's fascism. We should never allow it. So we have bills. There are bills in Congress that Republicans are working on to get rid of ESG. We have bills, actually, I have a bill with my colleague French Hill from Arkansas about getting the full employment mandate out of the Federal Reserve and getting the Federal Reserve back to just a stable prices mandate so we don't have these crazy inflations ripping through our country. Those are the solutions that we're working on.